Everyone ate nervously, while Borin sat quietly smiling. The smile made people even more uncomfortable. "Why is he smiling like that?" whispered a maid. "Maybe he poisoned the soup," whispered another. Then they both stopped eating. Suddenly, a gardener named Hugo began coughing loudly. "Ah, my stomach!" he cried dramatically. He rolled onto the floor, groaning and shaking his arms. A cook screamed. Someone dropped a chicken leg. One guard climbed onto a chair in fear for absolutely no reason. Then another servant clutched his stomach. "Oh no, I feel terrible too." Soon several people began groaning, coughing, and moaning. The hall turned into complete chaos. One musician started playing sad funeral music. A maid cried loudly even though nobody had actually died. At last, Borin stood on the table and shouted, "Silence!" The room became quiet. The dwarf folded his arms calmly. "The food you ate today contained a rare poison," he announced. Everyone gasped. "The only cure," Borin continued, "is hidden inside the ruby stolen last night." Panic exploded across the room. "What? We're doomed. I knew I shouldn't have eaten the soup." One servant even tried to drink flower water from a vase because he thought it might help. The king looked horrified. "Borin, what have you done?" But the dwarf simply smiled. Borin explained, "Several days ago, I secretly replaced many real rubies with fake ones. Inside the final stolen ruby, I hid a special antidote. Only the thief knows where that ruby is hidden. If the thief wants to survive, he must reveal himself soon." The room became silent except for nervous coughing. Sweat dripped down many faces. People looked at each other with suspicion. But one person did not panic like the others. Cedric the footman suddenly rushed toward the back hallway. I need air," he shouted. Then he ran faster than anyone had ever seen him run before. Borin's eyes sparkled. "There goes our thief," he said. The guards chased Cedric through the palace. He dashed past shocked servants, jumped over flower pots, slipped on spilled soup, crashed into a knight statue, and still kept running. Finally, he reached a storage room behind the royal library. There, hidden inside an old boot box beneath winter blankets, was a small red ruby. Cedric grabbed it with shaking hands. "Hurry, hurry," he muttered. He smashed the ruby against the wall, expecting medicine to pour out. But instead, sticky raspberry jam splattered all over his face. The guards burst into the room just as Cedric screamed. "What kind of antidote is this?" Borin entered behind them, laughing so hard he nearly fell over. "There was never any deadly poison," said the dwarf. "The sick gardener is actually my assistant Hugo, and the others were pretending." Hugo stood up, perfectly healthy, and bowed dramatically. Cedric stared in disbelief. "You tricked me!" "Of course," said Borin. "A guilty mind traps itself faster than any guard can." The king was shocked. "So the poison was fake?" "Yes," Borin replied. "Just a harmless potion that causes stomach pains for a few minutes. I only needed the thief to believe the story." The queen crossed her arms. "That was very dangerous." Borin shrugged. "Not as dangerous as leaving a thief in the palace." Cedric finally confessed everything. For years he had stolen jewels little by little because he loved riches and excitement. He enjoyed watching everyone blame each other while nobody suspected him. "I fooled the entire palace," Cedric said proudly, but Borin shook his head. "No, you fooled everyone except yourself. The moment you believed your own life was in danger, fear pulled the truth out of you." The king ordered the stolen jewels returned and sent Cedric away to face punishment. Then he turned gratefully toward Borin. "You have saved Rubyland," said the king. The queen added, "and you gave us the strangest lunch we have ever survived." Everyone laughed. Even the guards laughed so hard that one nearly fell into the soup again. That evening, the palace finally felt peaceful again. Ruby lamps glowed warmly through the halls. Music filled the air, and nobody hid jewels inside bread anymore. Before leaving, Borin gave the king one final lesson. "Remember this, your majesty," he said wisely. "A liar may deceive others for a while, but deep inside, the truth always waits patiently. Fear, guilt, and greed eventually open the door. And from that day on, the people of Rubyland remembered an important truth. Honesty brings peace, but greed always brings trouble in the end. Moral of the story: a person may fool the world for some time, but nobody can truly fool their own heart. Greed and lies eventually reveal the truth, while honesty always leads to peace and trust.